Good morning, welcome to the Community Review on Hot 92.3. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. Well, we have with us again another profile of life and success. In the house with me is someone who I love dearly. She is one of my fellow LGL, Latina Global Leadership hermanas. We were in a class at USC together. We now work together on various projects out in the community in the construction industry. Yes, she has given me a whole new life to my career and what I am capable of doing, because that's just the kind of person she is. She leads you to where you don't think you can go and shows you the path to get there. She's doing that all over California, and she'll be doing it across the nation with me as we take our desire to encourage and inspire young women across the nation. With me in the house, engineer and amiga and hermana, my sister and friend, Regina. Good morning, Regina.
Good morning. What a pleasant welcome.
It's so good to have you here, hermana. Now, one of the reasons why I brought you here today is because not only are you an amazing woman, but you are an incredible inspiration to me and so many women that I know. So I want people to understand who you are, because you're an engineer and you're a girl. And that is so cool to me. And you're a Latina. You've got like two things that most people would never put in the same sentence. Girl, Latina, and engineer.
Well, there are not very many of us out
Okay.
there.
So let's talk about what kind of engineer you are.
Sure. I'm a civil engineer. Went to school at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and had a very big influence growing up with my father being an engineer as well. Just at a very young age, I analyzed and I focused, and I knew those were my high qualities and strengths, and it ended up developing into going to engineering school with those influences in my life. So I concentrated on civil engineering and focused on transportation.
Okay.
So I do water, infrastructure, and transportation in design, construction management, and program management in Southern California, Northern California.
I know one of the cool things that you talked to me about, I remember when you came over one time, you had pictures on your phone. You said, oh, the 110, 105, those connectors. That you were actually there overseeing the whole building of that.
That's correct.
Now, how did it make you feel when you came driving down the freeway? You're like, look up and you go, I did that.
Well, it's very, very wonderful feeling, right? It was actually one of my very first projects working for Caltrans at the time. So it was a very, very great experience working on those flyover connectors.
So how does it feel being in a male-dominated field? Now, I mean, I have a male-dominated field, but more and more we're getting women into the field. But, construction is still a very male-dominated field. And, I mean, these guys, they're like real obvious about the fact that they don't think a woman belongs. I felt that personally, just having started working with you on several things. You walk in and they look at you like, okay, are you the one bringing the coffee? Because why is it not in your hands?
No, that's true. I like to think I've broken the mold and pioneered through.
You have, definitely.
I've had several experiences way back on that 110, 105 interchange where, back in the early 90s, it just wasn't prominent for women to be on the job. And you're right, there were stereotypes and differences to get through that. But once they realized that you were focused and you had the tools to make decisions and you weren't afraid to make decisions and that you knew what you were doing, your reputation precedes you on the next projects, right? So.
Well, your reputation definitely precedes you, because I can tell the difference when I walk in the room and then when you walk in the room, they're like, oh, Regina's here. Everybody act right. Because, I mean, you just come in, but you're so easygoing and calm about the way you handle them that I think that it makes men in a traditionally male-dominated field very comfortable. And you're so smart that they're like, oh, boy, she might even know more than I do. We better listen to her, So that's just my observations.
Thank you. And through 25 years of being in the field, your reputation is ahead of you. And so you could just walk in the room, they know you just by, association. So just like you being in your element here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much. People just kind of know that I might know a thing or two about what I'm talking about. Just a little bit, maybe. But, okay, let's Regina as a young girl. You're in high school. Clearly are probably excelling in math, or was there ever a time when you didn't excel in math and you had to work a little bit at it? Math and science.
Not really. I think that those were my strengths in school,
And how did you recognize it, or did a teacher recognize it?
I never really saw a phobia with it. It came normal to me. The influences at home, with my father saying, "Oh, you need to take math and science," so it was never really an option for me. And so I saw other students having difficulties through it, and the more I helped them, the easier it was for me, and just through repetition and things. But math and science is something that really was easy.
So
at least math was.
So you had to work a little bit. Work a little bit on science. Where do you get your influences from?
At a young age, your influences in life are at home, and at school, or through the church, or whatever. And I think that these days there's a lot of programs that support outreach to the students and to promote them and get them engaged in areas that they wouldn't have any experience at home or through their parents, such as STEM or STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
And now they've added the A, so now it's STEAM for arts.
Right.
So now I fit in.
What I do is I'm very active in nonprofit organizations and supporting. I've reached out to Montebello Unified School District through their board members to get associated with the Applied Technology Center High School in Montebello Unified School District. And from there, it just kind of expanded. Now I'm involved with 3 or 4 different nonprofits doing the same thing, which is really just outreaching to the students, promoting the fact that I am a Latina engineer, and if I can do it, they can do it. And if they have the tools and the strengths, then follow your dreams. You know what I mean?
Right.
And really, that's about it. I go and tell my story. I share my experiences. I give them insight to how to prepare themselves to go to college with some of these programs. So it makes me feel good to give and pay it forward this time in my career.
Do you think we should be starting in grade school, getting girls excited about science and math?
Absolutely. And I think these programs actually do. They do, because they're feeder schools to the high schools, which are feeder schools to the colleges. And as early as you can promote that influence on a student or on a child, I think it gives them more avenues to go in life.
Now, what kind of engineers are there? Because I know you're a civil engineer. I have another dear friend who is a chemical engineer. So there's lots of different kinds of engineer. When people think engineer, I think sometimes they always think of something getting built. But let's talk about some of the different types of engineers that you could.
But there's everything that you do with on a day-to-day basis has to be engineered. And whether in like buildings have electrical, mechanical, sound, lighting, engineers, right? Chemical, everything. So, and civil. So,
And there's some like sound engineers that actually are the force behind every single musical thing that you listen to.
Absolutely.
Every song that you download, or that you buy the CD, or that you buy on iTunes, every movie that you go to, there is a technical engineer, there's a sound engineer that has mastered whatever it is that you are listening to and seeing. So there's so many different types of engineering that I think when people think engineer, they think this one thing, but it's really such a broad spectrum. Because who thinks about the fact that when you listen to, Kanye's new album, there was a sound engineer that mastered the whole thing.
Absolutely. I think that people stereotypes as engineers as being the white male with the thick glasses and
that nobody played with in
with
school.
the white shirt with the tie and all the pens and
short sleeve,
yes,
stage shirt because the pen broke.
And believe me, there's a lot out there still like that.
Right.
A lot of them are my friends, but there's people like me that are out of the norm. And being a Latina and a woman engineer has been fun, challenging, difficult, but I think that's what made me strive to continue and to be the top level. Because as a woman, I still think that in engineering, you still need to do twice as much work in higher level to be recognized half of the time.
Oh, I agree.
And so it's an honor when you do go to a job site, a $1 billion job site, and they know who you are, or they respect your input. So it's a long time coming, and a lot needs to change, but I believe that the way I can better our community is to pay it forward and bridge that gap between education and industry, as well as building new improvements in the community itself and infrastructure.
If you could have one wish, let's say in the next 3 years, of how you would pay it forward to bridge that gap, what would it be?
I think we're working on that together, you and I. I think that our vision of outreaching to the students through nonprofit, whether it be the youth period, whether it be females or boys, and inspire them to reach their true calling and potential. And I think we can be an inspiration to the youth all up and down the state, reaching out to our STEAM students, whether it be science, technology, engineering, math, and arts.
Well, I definitely look forward to watching you grow. You're so amazing. And I'm always so impressed when we go on a job site or go into some of these construction meetings, and the guys you can tell that they look at you with so much respect. They know that you're a woman that knows what you're talking about. And the fact that you're a woman, you're a Latina, and you're an engineer, you're my hero.
Well, thank you. I think that with the positive influence I've had in the Latina program that we participated in, as well as in the industry of 25 years, has inspired me to start my own engineering firm with RT Engineering and Associates. And we primarily work in Southern California with public works contracts and government contracts, and both in engineering, construction management, program management, as well as public outreach and community relations.
So give everybody your website so they can go find more information. And do you have occasionally job listings there when you're looking for stuff?
Yes, actually. Our website is www.rtengineering.net, and you can look us up and you can see what projects we've worked on in the past, who our current clients are, and what our needs are.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for being an amazing profile of life and success.
Thank you for being a part of my life.